Howdy folks, hope you're all having a good one, and welcome back to a game of throws in World of Warships with me, Rear Admiral Jingles. In case you're wondering, by the way, what all the crosshair icons are on the team lists, there's a bounty event going on. I believe that means this is the North American server, and this is Handy Billy in HMS Belfast 1943. Sadly, not the original, and just a little bit overpowered, premium Tier 8 HMS Belfast. This is the slightly rebalanced Belfast 43 version. It's still pretty good, but it's nowhere near as good as the original. It's not the only bad news. This is a Tier 10 domination battle, and he is in an extremely Tier 8 light cruiser. So, while Billy is having some kind of issue at the beginning of this battle that led him to be in AFK for the first minute and a bit, what do you need to know about HMS Belfast 1943? Well, let's cover the downsides first. First, the armour, which is, well, it's no different to the armour on the other British light cruisers. It's absolutely terrible. Also, she has no repair party. And she has kind of low DPM and a long reload for a light cruiser. I mean, these are just 6-inch guns, and the reload is 10 whole seconds. I mean, that would be a mediocre reload for a heavy cruiser on with 8-inch guns. She also doesn't have a lot of health. 40,350 hit points. It's kind of meh. While she is armed with torpedoes, she only gets 3 launches per side. Her 6-inch guns only have a 15-kilometre range. It's not awful, but it's not great either. Worse, though, is the firing angles on those rear turrets. They're pretty bad. In order to get all 4 of these gun turrets firing at a target, you have to give dangerous amounts of broadside to whoever's shooting back at you, and that in combination with the low hit pool and the terrible armour is just asking for trouble. On the plus side, however, she does have good consumables. I mean, she's got hydro, she's got smoke, and she's got radar. And that is an extremely potent combination. Also, her concealment is amazingly good. 8.9 kilometres. I mean, there are destroyers in the game with worse concealment than that. Admittedly, that destroyer is the Khabarovsk. But still, I mean, that's next level concealment by cruiser standards. It's very, very good. And finally, while the guns are kind of with a 10-second reload, mediocre range and absolutely horrible firing angles, she does have 12 of them, and the high explosive shells are fantastic. As the enemy Mets over there is about to find out the hard way. Although admittedly, most of the Mets' problems as an experimental ship, it starts on about 40-30% hit points, so most of its problems did stem from the fact that he didn't use a repair party right at the start of the battle. He did just get bitch slapped by the Republic, but still, there's the first blood award, and Handy Billy's first kill. Arguably, this might have been something of a waste of a smokescreen. Because the Mets was actually shooting at the Republic, although possibly only because Handy Billy did use the smokescreen, but now the Los Andes over there, which is the only other target available, is outside of shooting range, so he's had to leave the smokescreen. Oh, hello. Oh, this just got interesting. It's Johnston versus Johnston, and there was a sonar ping from a submarine over there, and the friendly Johnston just went down, and he is, of course... okay, good news, not visible to the Los Andes, because it was outside of his shooting range, of course. And the submarine was submerged, and the enemy destroyer has popped his smoke. Okay. That over there, however, is an extremely suspicious looking and very fast moving smokescreen. Billy pops his radar. And his smoke. Yep. Italian battleship, it's Christopher Columbus. Slows down in order to stay inside the smoke, obviously, and starts farming damage on the enemy battleship, who is taking a lot of damage here. If only these guns reloaded a little faster. Oh, hello, he's also detected the Johnston. Much more difficult target to hit, though. Thinks about shooting the Los Andes, but he's out of range. Switches fire back to the Christopher Columbus. It is burning, if you can maybe set another fire. And this is all helping to reset the cap. Still an enemy submarine over there, pinging somebody. Scores a few more hits on the Columbus, but no more fires. Right, so there's a submarine over there. The Columbus is now safely behind an island. The Los Andes, out of shooting range. Billy decides he's going to go for the Johnston. In anticipation of this, he's fired up his hydro. So you can see the Johnston smoke screen up ahead. Oh, and the team have just lost the second destroyer, with a Jaeger going down. Let's just count the number of different ways the Johnston screws this up. First, the located indicator just popped up on Billy's screen, which means the Johnston has the radio location finding skill, or whatever wargaming are calling it this week. That means that on the Johnston screen, the indicator pointing towards the nearest enemy ship just flipped and is now pointing straight at Billy, which means the Johnston should be aware that the Alaska that he's currently shooting at is no longer the closest enemy ship. Somebody else is sneaking up on him, and it's Billy. Next, Billy is now inside the cap circle that the Johnston is trying to flip, which means the Johnston should be aware that he is no longer alone inside this cap circle. And third and finally, he just got hydroed. So 3 indications there that he should have probably been getting the hell out of this cap circle. But he waited until the 3rd indication before he started moving. Then, because he's probably at this point in full-on pants-on-head panic moment, he tries to torpedo Billy, but, well, if you're being detected by hydro, so are your torpedoes. It's not all going Billy's way, of course, because shooting at the Johnston has revealed his location to the Los Andes, so he really does need to finish that Johnston off quick and then go undetected again. And that final salvo does it. Now he's popped his smoke, and since he's now, he's obviously running Andrew Cunningham as his commander, since after destroying 2 ships, the equipment spoils talent activated, which increased the number of ship consumable charges by 1. It's here where Billy does make an interesting and very aggressive, although not completely stupid choice. Instead of staying inside the smoke, he starts shooting at the submarine, which is trying to ping him in order to get some homing torpedoes away. The thing is, because he's forced the submarine down, the submarine is no longer spotting him for the Los Andes. Remember, 8.9 kilometers stealth. Torpedo homing mitigated, those have all missed. It's here where the mediocre shooting range, that 15 kilometer gun range on the Belfast 6-inch guns, actually works in his favour because the Los Andes is further away than that. And the only thing that's actually capable of spotting him if he shoots is the U-4501. And in order to do that, it has to be on the surface, or at the very least, at periscope depth. So, risky move, but it paid off. They've taken the cap, although the enemy team do hold the cap at Bravo, and they're in the process of... Well, they're not flipping, but they are contesting the cap at Charlie. It looks like there's a Minnesota and a Key over there, with what looks like an enemy Jaeger. Yeah, we're at the point in the battle now where it's up to the battleships and cruisers to flip the caps, because all the destroyers are dead. Although, that's only true for Billy's team. The enemy team do, of course, still have that Jaeger, who is cock-blocking any attempts to flip the cap at Charlie up there to the northeast. But Alpha is now secure, so it's time to start moving up. And it looks like the 2 friendly battleships up to the northeast, the Minnesota and the Key, they've got some depth charge attack planes out, but I think they have probably very wisely decided that it's a fool's game trying to contest a cap against a rapid reloading destroyer like the Jaeger. The Jaeger has reclaimed the cap at Charlie, and the team have just suffered another casualty with the U-190 going down. This is not... it's not terrible. They are 200 points behind. It's not good, but it could be significantly worse. Billy pops the smoke, starts farming damage on the enemy Vancouver. Mynheer Vancouver, please, stay detected. The Belfast does have 12 6-inch guns, but that 10-second reload means that you do kind of need the target to stay detected for long enough for these guns to do what they need to do, or, well, start shooting at it when it's on low health to begin with. They should get the kill here. Oh, it's going to be close. Switches to armor piercing because this is the last salvo he's going to get. And, yeah, there it is. He scores a Pittadell. Hey, a kill's a kill. The Vancouver is down. So, they've equalised on kills. Charlie is still firmly in the possession of the enemy team. But the Friendly Republic is contesting that central cap because, well, let's face it, somebody has to. Unfortunately, the Jaeger up to the northeast has just found and sunk the Minnesota, which isn't good. but there's an excellent chance they're going to be able to finish off the Christopher Columbus. I mean, technically, Billy's in shooting range, but by the time his shells get there, he won't. So there's not an awful lot of point in him shooting. Plus, the team have this, with the Frederick the Great nailing the Christopher Columbus. Unfortunately, the team have just lost that Alaska, the one that Johnston was shooting at, taken out by the surviving enemy submarine. So, not good, but still not terrible. I mean, sure, they're a kill behind, but they're still 200 points ahead, and the Republic over there, who has been taking a beating, is now actually flipping that central cap, and is shortly going to have some assistance from Billy. Nobody on the enemy team is brave enough to share that cap circle with him. And whether they realise it or not, it's not just Billy who's about to help flip this cap, but there's another cruiser, the Carno, moving up into the cap circle with him as well. So even though the Republic does keep getting hit and reset, because he's a dirty great big battleship and it's difficult to stay hidden in a dirty great big battleship, Billy and the Carno should soon be able to assist with flipping this central cap. Wouldn't be an awful lot of point in Billy smoking up the Republic, because the size of the guns on that thing, smoke would be a complete waste of time. The second it fired, it would be revealed to everybody. The Republic, by the way, just got himself the High Caliber Award, so he's been doing good work. And the friendly Key up to the northeast, even though he's not quite brave enough to try to challenge the Jaeger for control of the cap circle at Charlie, he has managed to sink an enemy submarine. Unfortunately, he was flooding from torpedoes that the Jaeger had launched into him, and he dies immediately afterwards. So the team is still one kill behind, but now they have 2 cap circles, and they're slowly but surely extending that lead. Billy, who's got you spotted? It's not the Key. The Key's the only thing visible that's inside detection range, but it doesn't have a line of sight. That has to be the U-4501, which means he's probably closer. You can see he was last spotted all the way over there to the west, which is going to be bad news for the Frederick the Great, who's chasing down that Los Andes, but potentially also very bad news for Billy. It probably means the U-4501 is a little bit closer than his last reported indicated position on the map would, well, indicate. He popped his smoke there just in case, although I'm fairly sure he was wasting it since he had just gone undetected. I do have to say that Billy's done very well at maintaining his health. I mean, he's not just a Tier 8 light cruiser in a Tier 10 battle, he's a very, very low hit point, badly armoured Tier 8 light cruiser in a Tier 10 battle, so good job so far. As anticipated, however, the enemy U-4501 did turn out to be a significantly big problem for the Frederick the Great, who was chasing down the Los Andes over there on the western map border. He has gone down, but the Carno managed to finish off the enemy Iowa, so again, a points neutral exchange. The enemy team are still 1 kill ahead, but Billy's team are a cap circle and 200 points ahead, and the cap circle is the significant factor. Because when you're 1 kill behind, you can rest assured that that 200 point advantage did not come from sinking enemy ships. Playing the objectives wins battles. I have to say right now, I think my biggest concern, if I was on Billy's team, would not be those guys up to the north. See the Republic just unloaded a salvo? That's against the Los Andes. The Los Andes and the U-4501 over to the west are going to be a significant problem, because they're in a position to get a crossfire on any advance that Billy's team try to make, which is probably why the Republic is backing off. And oh great, the enemy Azuma has just sunk the friendly Wujing. Although that Key over there is in a lot of trouble. That's a lot of ships shooting at him, none of which are Billy. And it's the Carno who manages to get the kill. So it's now 4 against 5, which isn't good, but, well, a couple of seconds ago it was 4 against 6, so, you know, could have been worse. And this just in, my mathematics advisory team has just let me know that I can't count that 200 point lead. That was actually just a 100 point lead. Although, because Billy's team have held on to 2 cap circles for as long as they have, it's now a 150 point lead. And it's only going to get better as long as they can hold on to these 2 caps and nobody dies. So, team, nobody do anything stupid. Alright? I mean, there's still 5 minutes of the battle left, anything can happen, but the ball is now firmly in the enemy team's court because they're the ones who are losing. They're the ones that have to make the risky plays and take the chances, which, if they have any sense, Billy's team will wait for them to do and then capitalise on it. Oh, that's a lot of torpedoes. I think there may be a Jaeger around here somewhere. Billy pops the hydro. I mean, a little bit like shutting the barn door after the horse has bolted, but it is a Jaeger. Those torpedoes reload very fast, trust me. There will be more on the way. Pops the smoke. I mean, the first salvo didn't get him detected because the azimuth was on the other side of an island, but he's going to see him now. So, hidden safely inside the smoke screen, and with the hydro running, just in case of any unwelcome torpedo surprises, he proceeds to start lighting up the azimuth. It is kind of at long range though, particularly for a Belfast, and these are very, very floaty, lightweight 6-inch shells. The Taihang over there does look like a much better, much easier to hit target, and he's barely even moving. Although it looks like he has spotted and is shooting at the extremely low health Kano, who I think had less than 3... Yeah, he's dead. Taken out by the Taihang. However, the Taihang is burning, which probably means his damage control's on cooldown, but just in case, Billy, because he doesn't believe in taking chances, gets a final high explosive salvo in the air, finishes him off, and once again, the enemy team are 1 kill ahead. Hang on, Billy, who have you... Oh, the Jaeger! Looks like the... Yeah, that'll be who you just spotted. That'll also be who it is who has you pinged with the radio location finder skill. Well, you're not getting hit by any torpedoes from the other side of that island. Hydro is still running, so if there were any on the way, I mean, they weren't going to hit you here anyway, but you would have seen them. Warning your surviving allies. Pop some torpedoes, just in case the Jaeger wasn't going to come out and try to get in, but, well, I mean, the Jaeger knows he's detected. He's not dumb enough to fall for that old gag. So, Jaeger's trying to... get a sneaky contest off of this central cap, was he? And maybe try to get himself some kills. He's come out, which can only mean that the torpedoes are ready to go. He knows the hydro's expired. Elsewhere on the map, there's a bit of hot, sweaty U4501 on U4501 action occurring, and the result was not in the favour of Billy's team. But right now, Billy has his hands full with the Jaeger. Obvious torpedoes were kind of obvious. Hydro or no hydro, nicely dodged. And it's not the... Now that he's dodged the torpedoes, it's not the Jaeger who's the threat. It kind of is. The Jaeger's the one spotting him, of course. It's any potential shots from the enemy azimuth. But the azimuth seems to have his hands full with the Republique and is on the far side of an island, which means the Jaeger really misjudged his chances of winning this fight. He really, really needed to knock Billy out with his torpedoes, because no Jaeger ever won a gunfight with anything. Some assistance there from the Republique. Nicely done. The Jaeger wasn't going to be able to get away. Even if he managed to get out of detection range, Billy still had radar. Good assist from the Republique anyway. The Republique is now telling Billy to get back, which is great advice, because right now, Billy's team have an extremely slim points advantage. However, even though almost certainly the U4501 down at the southwest is flipping the cap at Alpha, the Republique is contesting, in fact he's actually flipping the cap at Charlie. So right now, Billy's team are the only ones with any actual points coming in. And there's only a minute and a half of this battle left. The Los Andes and the U4501 are almost certainly too far away to have any further influence on the outcome of this battle. Which means that it's down to the enemy azimuth. And the Republique, who's been yelling at Andy to get back, really should maybe have taken his own advice. Because the azimuth, knowing that he's going to lose if he doesn't do something, and, well, yeah, that is a Republique and it does have big scary guns, it's the worst that can happen. And rather than sailing away from and staying out of spotting range of the azimuth, the Republique is doing the exact opposite. But still, you know, he's... Oh, ow. That looks bad. That looks very bad. The Republique... Well, you know, let's be generous here. Let's not say the Republique. Let's say the enemy azimuth just converted a 70-point lead for Billy's team into a 30-point deficit for Billy's team. But Billy does still have 2 cap circles. Are those 2 cap circles going to be enough to regain the points lead in the barely 20 seconds that are remaining in this match? Because he's not going to find and kill the azimuth. He just doesn't have time. So will those 2 caps be enough to do it with 11 seconds to go? 744 to 735. 741 to 747. Come on! 740? You've got to be kidding. 747 to 750 points. Billy's team lost by 3 points. You see, the thing is, a defeat's a defeat, no matter how well you did getting there. So the 270,000 damage that the Republic was bragging about achieving in chat right before the match ended, well, all that does is make you first loser. So that's a fairly bitter pill there for Billy to swallow, with his 4 kills and nearly 1 million credits earned in a Tier 8 light cruiser in a Tier 10 defeat here on the trap map. Chin up, Billy. It could have been worse. Not really sure how, but I'm sure it could have been. Hope you all enjoyed it, and as always, take care, and I'll catch you next time.